Let's see. Okay, I see Frank the Tank in here, Mike Fernandez, Corridora, Laura Philippi. It's Philippi. Let's see. Autoclaving persimmon leaves and making cork creations. Cool. Oh, and Mike Fernandez joined the ISO supporter. He's a member now. He's also a patron, so that's fantastic. Zarathustra and the Chipmunks is here. Enjoying plants, guppies, neocaridinae, blue carabina spiderlings, and of course isopod cultures. Awesome. And Corridora, glad to see you back. And Frank the Tank, thank you for confirming that you can hear and see. Simpliciel, welcome. Joseph Tavir, JH, greetings. Christy Midgley, and Marimba Girl. Yep, these are indeed true magic potions. And I'm trying to help normalize just calling them magic potions, so I'm glad that you did that, Marimba, because we used to say American line magic potions and Japanese magic potions, but we really should be calling the Japanese line like Japanese Dalmatians or something, because magic potions refers specifically to this locality and form. Well, they're descended from a locality, they're morph, but they're descended from a specific locality in Georgia. So, Sanosuke, hello. Article in your Fish Club newsletter about isopod bins. That's awesome, Corridora. Laura Taylor, hello. Snailientologist, happy December to you. Great. Melanie Cam is here. Welcome. So how's everybody doing and what's going on? I've got some newly sanitized leaf litter I'm going to be adding to some bins. Figured I could do that with the magic potions. We could watch them nibble maybe if they're up for it. There's not a whole lot of them out right now. There's a ton of them in the bin, but I think I scared a bunch of them off with the bright light. My bright filming lights. I think that is the problem. I'm just going to put a leaf litter in here. Check their calcium and their wood and all that. Their calcium, they're doing okay on calcium. And there's a chunk of food right there. So I'm going to put this bin up and add another bin immediately. Put that right there. Do a little bit of millipede check, huh? What do we got here? Just checking. This is the substrate sent to me by Laura Philippi, BioLives. This is my T. macropygus, in other words, my flame leg millipedes. When they're young, they don't tend to spend as much time on the surface. They'll come out nocturnally, and I'll see them during the day once in a while. I don't see any right now out, but Easy Eddie sent me those, the flame legs. They were the first millipedes I ever kept. I love them. They seem to be doing well on this. They're growing. And this is the premium substrate from BioLives. I'm excited to see how they do on this, but so far they're doing well. They're growing, they're getting big. The flame legs take a while to grow up. They're faster than a lot of millipedes. They're faster than the African giant millipedes, for example, but they do take a number of months to grow up. They were the first millipedes I ever bred, I believe. Either that or bumblebees. It was one of the two, but I think it was these guys. Let's see. Oh, Marimba Girl had to die off in brand new powder mix starter cultures. Sorry to hear that. It will happen sometimes, and sometimes it can be hard to track down. Let's see. I'm going to take a look now at these. See if anybody's out. Oh, there's somebody out. This is my Centrobolus splendidus, otherwise known as the fire millipede. This is a young one. There's a trio in here. I just saw that one moving a little bit. I'm kind of surprised it's not actually retreating. Maybe it's about ready to molt or something, in which case I should leave it alone. This is also on BioLife substrate, but this is the standard substrate, but it's also great stuff. Has lots of like flake soil and wood, decomposed wood products and lots of other things in it. So I'm confident they're going to do well on here. And of course I added plenty of wood pieces like you can see here and here. There are already some in the substrate, but I added extras to it. That one looks like it's not moving a whole lot. I saw it move when I first looked at it. I'm going to leave it alone, get it out of the light. I don't want to stress it out in case it's about to do a surface molt or something. Woo! Haven't worked with that species before. This is my first foray into that species. Hopefully she's okay. I'm hoping so, Mike. But I have seen them look like that when they are about to molt. And a lot of times the younger ones will molt. You'll get surface molts sometimes with millipedes, and the younger ones will molt at the surface, it seems to me, a little bit more often. And they'll be okay when they do, a lot of the time. It's not ideal. I prefer them to molt down lower, but we'll see how it goes. Oh, Corridora, sorry to hear that those Oniscus lost the additional yellow coloring. That would have been fun. Alexander Dawson and Mila, greetings. So Melanie Cam, those were indeed magic potions, the true American stock. The difference between American line and Japanese line, there are a couple of different things. The amount of yellow is certainly a big difference. Did everybody see the ducky right there? I was going to poke around with the duckies just a bit. That is a big difference, but because they've been selectively bred for it, for an increased amount of yellow coloration. But they are also larger on average. They can get to a larger adult size. They grow slower and breed more slowly than most vulgare lines as well. So here's a whole bunch of duckies. Check it out. Light duckies, dark duckies. I need to separate these, and I keep meaning to. The light duckies and the dark duckies. So Anna Whitaker, Whitcher, I don't know how to say your last name, but I have a problem keeping humidity in my isopod containers. Any tips and tricks to keep humidity? I either get a mold or I dry them out. And then Frank asks about your ventilation. Yeah, what kind of ventilation do you have? And do you live in a really dry climate? Is there a lot of air movement? Both? Ooh, theropod hunter, purple variant ivory millipedes. Awesome. Hopefully you get those breeding. They're not too hard to breed. I've bred the ivories before, not the purple variant. Ali Tom and Major WD, welcome. So I've noticed that this enclosure is going nuts as far as breeding goes. There's lots of duckies in here, but I need to separate them out. I really, really do. I need to just dedicate a live stream to doing that. Lucas, welcome. So Melanie Cam have a few fire millipedes together with ivory millipedes. Had to rehouse them due to a garden centipede infestation. They ate all the babies and some of the adults also died. Yeah, those garden centipedes, by which I think you're talking about probably Lithobius forficatus, which is often referred to as the garden centipede. They get approximately an inch long, maybe a little bit shorter or longer, and they reproduce very quickly. They're kind of a reddish color. Breed like crazy. Alan Jones here. Hello. Welcome. Great to see you here again. Let's see. Is that going to focus for me on that dark? That's a nice dark one. See the one in the background? Not so dark. Ooh, Corridora. A gold vulgare. There are a couple of forms out there, but you should definitely work with those. You may have your own form of gold vulgare. Troiler, welcome. Not sure if I'm saying your name correctly. With holes around the side for ventilation, leaf and tropical reptile bedding. Okay. How many holes and what sizes are your holes typically? So Tima, when I mention air movement, that's a good question. And what I mean is like air movement in the room. Do you have things moving the air actively in that room? Like, do you have a fan running? Do you have, like in the summer here, we have low humidity in our air, so I have a swamp cooler running in the summer, which keeps the ventilation, the air movement's really high in the summer. And then we have the central heating in the winter, which does some air movement, but it's not as constant as the air movement from the swamp cooler in the summer. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. Great question. Okay, I'm going to take something else out here, take a peek. While you're waiting, there's this really big gestroy I found, and I want to share with you. It's really big, so while I get this other bin, just check that one out. Pretty nice gesture, huh? Okay, so I wanted to look at these guys because someone was talking about colorful vulgare, and I thought, wow, well, these are fun. Let's play with these. They'll probably eat if I put some food out. I'm hoping so. They might run away. I don't know. We'll see. So let's see. So I'm trying to figure out how I can pronounce that name. I need to look at it with Troller. Any tips for raising roaches? I have extraordinarily limited experience with raising roaches. I do have some, but I've never raised them in my house. I have raised, let's see, dubias from older nymphs to adults. I've raised the same with Gromfatorina portentosa, the Madagascar hissing cockroach, just older nymphs to adults. I've raised peppered roaches from older nymphs to adults, and one ivory roach, Eublaberus species ivory, from older nymph to adult, and then the only species I've actually bred, if you can call it that, is Nocticola species Malaysia. They're parthenogenic. And so I have very limited experience. Okay. Let's see. I'm missing some of the things, so sorry, folks. You might have to repeat things if you have questions. So Marimba Girl's asking if these are night gold. They are not, although they look kind of similar. Some of them do. This is Santa Lucia, and it's either Santa Lucia, it's either Santa Lucia based group, or it is it's pure Santa Lucia. I have my doubts that it is pure Santa Lucia, and the reason why is because Kyle Candelian of Roach Crossing, who really is an authority on isopods, more so than most people who've been working with many of them for a lot longer than most people out there, indicated that this particular phenotype with a lot of white, the yellow speckles, kind of like night gold, is more typical of North America, like continental North America, if I get it right, and it does not tend to appear in other places, and I'm not sure if that's true of Santa Lucia or not, but the fact that they're showing up in here leads me to believe that this is not pure Santa Lucia stock. They're beautiful, but we'll see. It's hard to say if they're... I want to keep this stock around because I really like it. It produces a lot of variety, more so than my Punta Cana stock ever did, but I really like it. So, have you guys seen A. Gestroy Halloween? I looked it up after somebody posted about it. I think it was Tropical Isopods who isolated those. I want to say it was. And they look kind of amazing. They have like an extra dimension to their markings, which looks pretty cool. So Mike Fernandez is talking about, found 18 minutes off and 18 seconds on is a perfect combination. Oh, USB blower fan. Cool. Connected to an interval controller that Kizumi said how after it turns on and off. Oh, okay. That's cool. It's a good way to do it. Rod, best way to rear garden centipedes in small restrooms. Try to raise Austrian copper roses. That's awesome. So Marimba girl, mine are more similar to Santa Lucia, but they were wild caught here in California. Cool. Green stems, Melanie. Those are, and they do appear to be have been munching on them. They are spider plant stems. I've been experimenting with that. When I trim my spider plants to see if they would eat them, and it looks like they do like those. So Sanosuke, as far as I know, there's only one Santa Lucia pure locality, but what I'm thinking is it's possible that these were contaminated by another strain. Like somebody threw some gem mix in with them at some point along the line or whatever. And that's where we're getting these yellow markings. I don't know for sure. These were both the two lines that were sold to me to begin this stock. Maybe one was given to me and one I bought, something like that. But anyway, both of them were just labeled Santa Lucia. So from that standpoint, as far as I know, they are Santa Lucia, but the fact that we're getting these yellow speckled ones, like this one, indicates they may not be pure. And thank you, Laura Taylor, for the like spike suggestion. Let's get it going. And Frank, too. So Marimba girl, they do seem to have good chemoreceptors. And I was reading an article about that, and I don't want to misquote the article, but like about that. And they do have good chemoreceptors, so essentially they're smelling with those, and their antennae are part of that chemosensory system. So as far as I know, this is still preliminary stuff, but they do seem to be nibbling on the spider plant. So we'll see. It'd be kind of nice not to waste the leaves when I trim. So Snaeleontologist, what enclosure size would you recommend for a vinegaroon who is about 2.5 inches? I'd say you can probably go somewhere between a 16-quart tub to a 10-gallon tank size, somewhere in there with that. Oh, Marimba girl. I hope you get Oren's book, the latest edition. I have an older edition. I think mine's, I want to say 2022, maybe it's 2021. I'm not sure. I don't remember. I love it, but it's an older edition. Pod People's here. Hello. Oh, Laura Taylor. Yeah, I've heard Fittonia is a great isopod snack. A lot of the isopods really love Fittonia. That's what I hear. Oh, looks like Frank the Tank had the same answer for Snaeleontologist. Yeah. I was just filming my vinegaroon yesterday. I've got a short coming out pretty soon with the vinegaroon in it, so keep your eyes open for that. It's one of my 2 truths, 1 lie series I've been trying out that seems to be working really pretty well for a short. The first one I did in that series about tailless whip scorpions did pretty well. It's not all that old. It's about a month and a half or something like that old, and it's got almost 20,000 views, so pretty good. It smells like cucumber. Oh, okay, that makes sense. The Fittonia, they like cucumber too, so. Yeah, Terra Sahara is what I use for my vinegaroon, Frank, and I do like it a lot. Droth, welcome. Irinic Shepherd. Blug. What is blug? I wonder if I can zoom in. Does that lose much quality when I zoom in there? See, we got 36 people in the house, 26 likes, enjoying these Santa Lucias. I hope everybody is enjoying the Santa Lucias as I am. Oh, I scared somebody away. Mystic Drake is here too. And Droth, yes, this is Santa Lucia. Okay, it's the 2019 version I think I have. Marimba girl. That's got to be the one. It's not the 2013 version for sure. Charlie Moorcroft is here. Hello and welcome. It is great to have you here. I don't know if I mentioned to you, I fairly recently redid my garter tank and used some of the bark slab that you gave me, and they love it. So It's great. And I'm going to be redoing it again, probably with the same bark slab, but adding some more things and switching it out once I pull my uh, melanistic garters out of brumation, which I just put them in brumation yesterday. The melanistics, my 3 males and 1 female. And I've been checking their brumation station temperature to make sure it is doing well. It's regulated with I've got a heat mat on a low range thermostat to keep it at about 45 degrees, so it hovers right near there, and it's working out well. Yeah, I'm really excited to do a build I've been contemplating with the bamboo you sent, to do a build with that. And I want to show you something. The Tilentia ricurvata that you sent me, the ball moss, has grown a lot since you sent it to me. And I'm really liking it. It's doing well. I don't know how you can, if you can tell, but it's probably 3 or 4 times the size that it was when you sent me this, and I'm really digging it. I have, I don't know, probably 8 species of Tillandsias, and this is my only field-sourced specimen of Tillandsia I think that I have, and I really love it. So thank you again for sending it. It's been doing well. Sent me a lot of cool stuff. Let's see. Diotero's here. Excellent. We're 42 in the chat and 27 likes. Let's do a like spike if you haven't done one yet. And Melanie says, I just want to say I love this community. No one here thinks I'm crazy for keeping bugs. Had to hide my collection of inverts at Thanksgiving to not freak out family. Well, I am glad that you find this community a welcoming place. I do too. In general, it's really pretty amazing, and I love it. So I'm glad you're feeling that way. All right, Snailingtologist. Thank you for the super chat, and I'm glad the Vinegaroon advice helps out. There is some conflicting information out there. I think one thing that Peter and Bugs in Cyberspace recommends that I think is a great thing is, especially when they're younger, but you want to make sure that the ventilation is not too crazy because you don't want it to dry out. They do like a moist microclimate. You don't want to get waterlogged either, but one thing that he does is kind of limits, when they're younger, the airspace above the substrate. So give them plenty of deep substrate, but then you don't want a ton of airspace up above it so it doesn't dry out, which I like. So thank you, Snailingtologist. And it looks like this is your first super chat on a live stream, so I appreciate that a lot. Let's see. Yeah, I love it. I love this. There's so many people who can find a welcoming community online for people who don't necessarily like, have family members who like their critters. I am fortunate in that many of my family members are interested. Not all, but enough of them are that a lot of them want to come over and see stuff, handle stuff, that kind of stuff. And corridor, yeah, that makes sense. It's nice to be able to show the fish, but not necessarily handle the bugs if they're too young for that. Okay, I'm really excited about something else I want to show you. A couple of things here. So I'm going to move these Santa Lucia, as much as I love them, I'm going to move them out of the way because we've been watching them for a while. I'm going to add some more leaves to their enclosure because they're getting low. They're not out, but it's better to have a lot more in there than they do. So I'm going to do that. Oh. Filion, I'm not sure how to say your name, but that's cool that you got to shadow an entomologist. It's fantastic. And Vel, I'm not sure how you got it recommended either, but welcome. Whether you stay or not, I'm just glad you came in and said hi. It may not be your cup of tea here, but I think it's cool that you showed up. Okay, so let's see if we can see what's in here. I don't know if there's any on here. There's just one. That's not exciting. Let's pick up another piece of bark and see what we can find here. There they are. Look at that skirt on this one. Love the skirt, love the markings. Let's see if we can get some more. I think this is kind of a drier piece of bark. This one's better. Look at all these. Woo! Definitely breeding. So who can name these? Oh, Vel, you keep fairy shrimp. I have kept fairy shrimp, a few different species. I've done, let's see. I'm going to mess up the names now. But the Celii and the S. Celii and the, what's the beaver tail scientific name? It's been a while since I've done it. But I've raised 3 or 4 different species of fairy shrimp, probably. Something like that. And enjoy them a lot. I enjoy fairy shrimp. So, it's cool. I have videos about that, about other vernal pool organisms as well. I raised lots of Daphnia. I've raised Triops. Ooh, I need to hatch my Cancriformis. It's cool now. This is the perfect weather to hatch Cancriformis in. So I should do that. So this is, as Melanie just figured out, this or said, this is Porcelionides virgatus big pine key. They tend to have a lot of variation, a lot of color. The younger ones aren't necessarily as colorful as the adults, but they do have some color on them. But as they get big, they color up quite a bit. Let's take a look and see if we can find some more. There's probably some under here. Well, there's only a couple of babies under there. That's not terribly exciting. A few babies, different sizes. I just got some of these, I don't know, when was that? A month or so ago? See, I love the skirt on this one and the markings. It almost looks like the non-conglobating version of Armadillidium klugii. Doesn't it? Don't you think? A little bit like that. Anyway, I got some to Tennyson, Kingsley, and so my colony is now kind of booming back because I got him some stock, and then they're just like, they're building back up. Brasiliensis and red tails. Okay, so I've done the red tails. That's the Celii, right? And then the beaver tails are the huge ones, not the biggest ones, but they get really huge. For some reason, I can't think of their scientific name, but anyway, they're very cool. And yep, Frank, this is indeed Porcelionides CF virgatus, Big Pine Key, Florida. That is the one. So I will be selling the Big Pine Key. Tennyson is local to me, so we do a lot of trades, fair amount of trades anyway. And so I don't, I felt okay with doing a local trade like that with Tennyson. But I don't feel like my colony is quite big enough to sell yet, but it's getting there. It's getting there. So I will be selling them, and I have the permits to ship them. They're fine. So I will be selling them. They're not the best display isopods because they're kind of shy, but they're beautiful. And they're not difficult to raise. They don't reproduce like other Porcelionides when they're probably not even the same genus, but they reproduce decently. Yeah, and my stock does come from Invertebrate Dude. This is the same stock. I got all of my Porcelionides CF virgatus from him. I have Big Pine Key, I have Miami, and I have, shoot, what's the other one? I should just go look and bring them over here, huh? You can take a look. Be right back. Everglades. Everglades is the other one that I have. So let's look at them, because there's a lot of variety in the localities. And Invertebrate Dude and I were doing a trade, and he said, I said I wanted some Big Pine Key, and he said I want this and that. And we did a trade, and he was kind enough to send me different localities. And they have different colors that are going on in the different localities. So let's see, is this the right one? Is this the right bin even? Hold on. There's a wee something right there. This is the wrong bin. Sorry, I grabbed the wrong bin. Let's see, this is Everglades. And let me grab Miami real quick. They're in the... This is Miami. So the colors vary quite a bit based on locality, and they might turn out to be different species or whatever. They may just be different localities. But this is Miami. And they look like this. So as you can see, they're not nearly as colorful. This one has kind of a cool skirt on it. You can see most of them have this cool little skirt. I don't know how well you could see that. It's kind of a red edge, and there's not any under that piece of bark, so they're going to be harder to see. And these are younger ones, but see, they've got that little skirt, which is fun, but they're not nearly as brightly colored. And then Everglades looks totally different. Let's take a look at Everglades. If I can find some in here. Hopefully they're not hiding too deeply. Shoot, I'm not seeing any right now. That's no fun. They're very orange. The Everglades locality is very orange. Okay, let me grab something else. Just a second. What was I going to grab here? Okay. I forgot to put leaves in there where I have those out. This is my hound owl colony. They are doing really well, eating a lot, breeding a lot. And if you've been watching my long form video posts lately, you will know that I have been participating in some crossing experiments with these. Been trying to do some crosses with orange, Porcelio levis orange, and with Porcelio levis Santa Rita Mountains. So hopefully we'll get something out of that. These appeared in Pod's Giving, and I've made a little sort of mock pumpkin pie in here, just pumpkin pie filling without any spices or sugars or anything added to it. And they ate it. They did a really good job eating that up. It was fun. So they definitely need more leaves. And let's see if we can get, there's only a few under this one. I love the color and the markings on these though. Look at all these springtails. Springtails everywhere. Oh, sorry, hairy arm. Look at all the springtails. So Mystic Drake, how many Narcissus americanus do you have? If you just have a male and a female, that could be enough. Or if the female's already, been mated, then you could just start with one female. It would probably be nicer to start with several. I don't think there's necessarily I like to start with millipedes just to make sure I have males and females. Ideally, I'd like to start with like 6 or 8 of them, at least. I have bred millipedes with smaller groups, starting out with smaller groups. There it is. Okay, now I got tons of leaves in there. Okay, yeah, I would get some more if you can. You can succeed with a trio, but so my isopods like the canned pumpkin. They seem to do well on it. Do you think any of these are going to come start eating? We'll see. Should we give them a minute and see if they do? I'm hoping some of them will. Well, Lucien, I'd keep an eye on those. As they get a little older, it might be easier to see the yellow. I'm partially colorblind, so it's a little bit trickier to ask me a question about that. But we could look at my yellow zebras and see what we see. I need to call them out anyway, because there's some whites in there too. But Corridora, we're real people too. We're just communicating through cyberspace. Max Kentrell, eggs from your stick insects. That's something I hope to be able to say someday, that I'm checking for eggs from my stick insects. If I can get a hold of the species that's native to my state. One of the 2 species that's native to my state. Oh, okay, maybe we'll get some eating. There's a couple of them are eating, or, well, they were. I guess I talked about it and that didn't work. Very well did it. But we got some coming over. Maybe they're gonna do something here. Yeah, there we go. Should we home in on these little guys? I like that they're bold, just like dairy cows. They're not the same species as dairy cow, but they do seem pretty bold. Let me see what else we can grab. I don't know if they're gonna do much here or not. They're usually pretty enthusiastic about eating, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Oh, thank you, Tima. I can't take credit for the idea, but I do love the scallops specifically because they're so shallow. It allows the isopods to get in and out easily, especially the babies. Because with a deeper shell dish, one with more of a gradient, they can easily get have a hard time getting in and or out. And as babies, that can be a desiccation hazard as well as just not very efficient way for them to get food. So these scallop dishes, since they are so flat, really work well. Holy cow, Uricantha calcarata. The males have impressive femoral spines. And last week one panicked and squeezed my thumb strongly enough to draw blood. Otherwise a dream to keep. Wow. So Corridora, I do hope you get zebras. They are one of the all-time classics. It's hard to beat zebras. So let's look at my bin here of zebras, because these are getting rather slow to go to the food, which is kind of silly because usually they're nuts. They just go crazy. I probably need to add some more leaves to this bin too, although, yeah, I do. But I want to show you the zebras, and maybe we can go through it a little bit together, fish out some of the whiter ones. I mean, not the whiter ones, the less white ones, because I have a hard time culling them myself because my partial color blindness makes it just a little bit more difficult to me to see the colors. But let's take a look here. So I see in this area we got one with some good yellow, and this one's just mostly white. So this one's got to go to a different bin. And I have a little deli cup here that's not in the shot, but that's where I'm putting them. I can tell that at least two of these are not very yellow either. Right here and right here. Am I right? Where's my paintbrush? Shoot, I don't see my paintbrush. I can still get them though. A lot of them are pretty yellow. There's 2 or 3 of them there that are not very yellow. And I'm going to take those out. What I had to do, because my original yellow stock was kind of spotty, like this individual. And I didn't want them to be so spotty. I wanted them to be more, you know, see how that one's quite yellow, that little one right there that's conglobating, or was conglobating, pretty yellow. And that's what I want. But I didn't have any that were striped as very well, and so I put some striped stock in here a while ago. It's been a while. And been culling out the really spotty yellow ones and culling out the really not yellow ones and trying to make more stripy yellow ones. But I do have to cull it every once in a while. And it looks like it's high time because I'm getting plenty that are nicely striped like that one, but are just not yellow at all. Those all look like they have some yellow on them. So Laura Taylor, remind me what a tree lobster is. I've heard the name, the common name. I don't remember what it is in reference to. Oh, that one's really yellow and really striped. I love that one. Getting a lot more of these now that are both yellow and striped than I did when I first got my stock, my initial stock. That one's pretty yellow, and stripes aren't awful. They're moderate. Let's see. Oh, Corey Doris, still keep going. Keep going. Let's see. So Tima, you're not seeing the yellow on the camera. Could be the phone settings. So Mike, these were your first. Fantastic. It's hard to beat them, isn't it? Those are all pretty yellow. The one on the left is not quite as yellow, but they're looking okay. Whoop, sorry, dropped that. Let me see. When I opened this up, there were a ton of babies on here. Yep, some nice yellow ones, but that one's definitely not very yellow. Oh, Richard from Tarantula Collective dropping in to say hi. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat, my man. That's awesome. Love the $5 super chat. Love to see you in the stream. Always great to have you here. So thanks, Richard. How things going? Let's see. There's some not so yellow ones in there too, huh? There's a not so yellow one. Right there. So I have heard of the tree lobster, but I'm not. Name's ringing a bell, but I don't remember what it actually is. I'd love to hear more about that. It's funny, now that I take some of these out, I see some yellow in them, but not nearly as much as the others, and we want to concentrate that yellow. They do love magnolia pods. So many isopods do. So many do. I found another one not very yellow and kind of spotty, so that goes into the random bin. That's where all the culls are going into my random bin. The random bins are fun. They could very well have started out as a joke from Ren and Stimpy, but I have heard of a species that is called that, and I don't believe it is a true lobster. I don't remember what they actually are. I love these. Was it Laura Philippi who sent me these? And you put a little sphagnum moss in them and they create little humidity hides. Look at that little baby. There are a couple little babies there. Probably too old to be mankai at this point. But I see some of them there. Crawling right on there's one right there too, and you can even see some yellow forming on it. My thumb looks entirely too gigantic and horrible there. But this was a great idea. Laura Philippi of BioLives sent me some of these to make these little humidity hides, and I love them. And the isopods obviously do too. See the babies hanging around in there and the adults hiding in there as well. Just like they do the magnolia pods. Look at all the little babies in there. Oh, the Lord Howe stick insect. That's it. That's the one I was thinking of too. I just couldn't remember. And that is, I believe, the heaviest stick insect, not the longest, but the heaviest stick insect that exists. And of course, you'd need to have a containment facility to keep them at the very least. I'm not sure what the legal status is on those. But yeah, they're pretty cool. Here's that's a nice stripe, but not really yellow, so I'm going to put that over here. Yes, Mike, lots of babies. If I were to go through the substrate, which I don't want to do because it's not very safe, if I can avoid it, probably not a good idea. But there's a lot of them in here from what I can tell. What I really, really need to do is, this would be the best way to do this cull. Set up another bin, take out 10, 12, 15, 20, something of that, of the most stripy and the most yellow. And then just put everything else in the random bin. That's what I need to do. But this is a start, something I can do. But I probably learned that mostly from Kyle Candelian. That's how he does it. He takes out the stock. Sometimes it's just a single pair or a single female, the gravid female. He'll take them out and then let them have a ton of babies and then start again. And that's the way to really get the results fast. So I could take like that one in the middle, That's an awesome looking one. And make sure that would be in my top picks. And then find, 10 or 12 or 20 that look similar to that and have them all reproduce. Everything else in the random bin. I think that's what I need to do. So, let's see. Lucian, do I use cholla wood? I do, not usually in my isopod bins, although I have used it. But I have some in with my Phidippus apachianus. I have some in with my desert beetles and velvet ants. So yeah, I do use it. Let's see. Arizona Ant Keeper, super chat. Awesome, thank you. Appreciate it. Doesn't look like there's an actual chat, just a super, but I appreciate that a lot. So, did you give your crickets canned pumpkin? I'm trying to think if I've ever done that. I may have. Just looking around to see what I see. Oh, I see another really white one. Needs to go in the random bin. Well, no, that's actually kind of yellow. It just looked yellow. I mean, it looked white. Now that I see it close up. So, Corridor, are we talking about isopod colonies? Feeding new colonies? Once a week, once a month, and so on? It depends. It depends on the species. It depends on how many I put in there. It depends on a lot of things. Typically, if I'm starting with a larger colony, like 50 count, 60 count or something like that, I'll feed them right off, and I might feed them several times a week. If I am starting a new colony and I just have like a 10 count and there's plenty of leaf litter and rotted wood and all that kind of stuff, I might not feed them really at all for a month or so, and then I'll start feeding them very sparingly once I notice them reproducing. That's typically how I do. So, yeah, if I just had a 10 count and I had plenty of nice rotted, properly decomposed leaves and properly decomposed wood in there with them, I would not bother feeding them until I saw reproduction, most likely. Depending on species too. Some like Porcelionides pruinosus I might feed more quickly than others. Isopods with big appetite, species like that, I might feed more often, but okay, I think that's probably done with the culls for now. Not completely done, but I mean, I think I'm done culling this colony now, and I'm going to add some more leaf litter, and then I'm going to grab the random bin, and we'll put these others in the random bin, and we can see that process. Get some more leaf litter in there. Let me grab the random bin real quick, and enjoy Gestroy vision. Woo! As I kick the iPad. That'd be great. I am now attempting to locate the random bin. Where the heck did I put it? It may not have been me. I'm not the only one who deals with the isopods, and sometimes the bins get put in weird places. There it is. I found it. It was under the orange crush. So here we go. It's better to look at the stuff Gestroy than nothing, right? Do you agree with me? I do sanitize my leaf litter, Mojo Zoo, and there's a couple of different ways I do it. Sometimes I heat. Heating is not my preferred method, but sometimes I need to do that to ship it, and it does reduce the, basically eliminates the microbiological content of the leaves, which is not awesome, but it does also make sure that we're not introducing a ton of pests. And so for USDA purposes, I need to heat it. But my preferred method is to pickle the leaves. Still working on my process to see if my process is effective. So far, when I pickle them according to my process, the isopods like it, and it does seem it decomposes them nicely. But still working on that. See, this is my random bin. Occasionally get a high white in here. You get lots of minimal spotting. You get some that have random patterns. A few that look yellow in here. That's what this bin is for. And there's lots in here. So I sell these a little cheaper than the nicely striped ones, but they're kind of fun. And a lot of times people are like, I want to try it, but I don't want to spend as much. There's not that much of a difference in price, but I think sometimes people are just like, yeah, it's like $4 cheaper or whatever it is. Maybe it's not even that much. And they're still cool looking isopods. They're just different. And I do have occasional high whites or chocolates or whatever show up once in a while. And this is a zebra only random bin. Yeah, I tend to keep my random bin, my random bins for species, just one species per random bin. Sometimes I'll use mixed species in a cleanup crew in a tank, but as far as bins. So Max, which kind of moth trap are you running? Let's see. Criminal got some Neocardina Red Riley today. Fantastic. Oh, did you see some chocolates in here? There may be some chocolates in there. I do get them occasionally. I'm going to feed these guys here. There's enough in here. They have a pretty good appetite. There's more in here than I have in my yellow bin, because I fairly recently culled out the yellow bin, so there aren't as many in there. I keep on forgetting where my food is. I mean, there we go. That's probably fine. So I'm feeding, this is the pill diet. Incog Invert sent me some of this to try out, and I've been using it. Works pretty well. The isopods seem to like it. I feed a lot of different foods. I like Supreme Isopod Chow. I use dog food, kibble a lot. I use fish food. Use a lot of different things. But so my yellow zebras, Criminal, my yellow zebra bin, there's a lot of yellows in there. I don't get a lot of yellows spontaneously popping up in my other bins, but I have. They're usually a lighter yellow. So that has happened to me occasionally. Some of my yellows are likely descended from a couple that I found in my normal bin. Okay, Gestroy alert. I'll be right back. I wanted to jump to another genus. We have just a few minutes left. This may or may not be our last isopod we look at. But these are my orange piebald from Derek Niehaus. They are very cool. The adults have the piebald pattern. I guess it's the subadults that have the clearest pattern. The young typically just look like straight oranges. You can see a lot of these look like straight oranges, but as they grow, they develop the piebald pattern. And then as they get older, the piebald pattern gets dirty. So this one has kind of a dirty pattern. You can see it's kind of orange on the uropods and the area right around the uropods in the pleon, and then the antennae are orange, and then the rest is kind of faded out. That's one presentation you get for the phenotype. Let's see what else we've got here. This one's these two are a little bit more pronounced in the pattern, and all the young ones just look orange. But as they grow, that changes. So there's younger ones that show it a little bit. See, that one's starting to show the piebald pattern. Even this one has a little speck of white on it. And as they grow, that becomes more pronounced. So they're very cool. Pretty rare as far as scaber goes. You don't see a lot of them. You do see the piebalds, but the orange piebalds are a little rarer. Not that, any kind of scaber is fairly accessible if you can find it. There's one with the nice pattern beginning there. I wonder if you could selectively breed for onset of pattern, because some of these are the same size. Some that have the pattern onset are about the same size as others that don't. I wonder if you could breed for early onset of pattern. That would be fun. So Criminals, you keep multiple species of springtails for cleanup crew and isobins? Occasionally, but just by accident. I have the little silvers and so on. My species of choice is this one that used to be known as Sinella curvicetta, and now it's like, what is it, Cecobria tenebricosa or something like that. And you can see some other smaller ones in there. Some of those I think are not their offspring, but are a different species going on possibly. Any rate, this is my species of choice because I can ship it to most states. So it's usually the species I go with. But it is, yeah, by accident occasionally I'll get bins that have other species in there, the little species that show up. But I really like these. So, Mojo Zoo, how are the garters? I just put all my melanistics down for brumation yesterday. And I'll be putting down my lone eastern for brumation really, really soon. My lone eastern wild type, I should say, for brumation really soon. But yeah, they're doing well. I'm excited to get babies next spring, hopefully. And yeah, I'm not... As far as I know, I'm not breeding any red-sideds next season. I had one red-sided offspring of a holdback that I was going to try to breed. And somehow, and I still have no idea how she does it because the enclosure does not look like it has anywhere for her to escape, but she escaped, which is really weird and frustrating. No other snake has ever escaped from that enclosure. And I don't know what's going on, but hopefully I find her soon. It hasn't been that long. But if she doesn't show up, I won't be breeding red-sideds at all. Micromoths, Max. I need to think about that. So pink tropicals is one name that's used for that species. I don't use the common names for springtails that much because they're so interchangeably. Like tropical pinks is used for at least 2 different species. And thank you, Mojo Zoo. And Mystic Drake, tragically, Ruby did not recover, despite medical treatment, well, veterinary care, and 2 different medicines. She did not recover, and I lost her, and I'm so sad. And I don't talk about it much. I have talked about it on the stream before, but I don't talk about it much because I'm still really sad. But, yeah. So she was being treated with 2 different medications and did not make it. So that was very sad. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. So Mystic Drake, will you keep some offspring? Yes, I'm going to. Most likely keep some offspring. What I plan to do, I'm going to be doing a collaboration with Don of Don's Garter Snakes. He is going to bring some females over to pair with my melanistics, just wild type easterns, and we can produce 100% hets. And then I would like to keep, 1 or 2 of my melanistic offspring and 1 or 2 of the hets, so that when they reproduce, probability-wise, their offspring will be 50% visual melanistics and 50% 50% hets that are 100% het, which sounds confusing. But it means that, when you get a possible het, you don't know if it's a visual wild type, but it can be heterozygous for a trait, but you're not sure if it is or not. But when you cross 100% het with a visual, then you get 100% hets and visuals, and those are the only 2 possibilities you get. Okay, we got a super chat from Criminal. Fantastic. Trying to put a like on that. There we go. Crustaceans and hexapods. Fantastic. Yep, we've got crustaceans and hexapods in this bin because we've got the hexapods, which the springtails are hexapods without being insects, and the isopods are crustaceans and they are not hexapods. So, yeah. Very accurate. I like it. So Mystic Drake, or was it you who asked about the garters? Let's see. The idea is that not only will I have some hets available, but since the dam or the female Kiki is not related to the males, that's pretty good already. But if someone buys some melanistics and they want to buy a het, the het will be less related as well because it will have an unrelated line put into it. So then you can produce really healthy, robust offspring for a generation or two without having to outcross, because I just did. So by getting one of my hets and one of my melanistics, for example, or a trio or whatever you're going to get, you can make sure you're doing some outcrossing when you're breeding. So that's the idea. Thank you, Criminal, again for the super chat. Thank you, everybody, for all the super chats. We have 42 people here and 41 likes. That's pretty good. And it is about time for me to go. I got somewhere to be, too. I appreciate you all coming. I hope you enjoyed isopod maintenance with me. I enjoy doing isopod maintenance, and I especially enjoy it when I do it with you. So thank you for being here for Isopod Maintenance Day. Next week will not be a live stream. There will be a short, and it will probably be my Vinegaroon short. See how that goes. And then the week after that, we're not going to have a live stream for a little while, probably not until January. I might have one on the 17th of December. I'll keep you posted. And it would be earlier in the day for our folks from other countries who can't make the later live streams. I might be able to pull one off on the December 17th, but other than that, there'll be family things going on and stuff during December, and I won't be having a live stream. So this is either the penultimate live stream of 2024, or it is the ultimate live stream of 2024. Either way, I'll see you pretty soon, and thank you for joining in. Have a good one, everybody. Thanks for your support.